So I was a consumer. I consumed this content. I looked at these people doing this stuff, having this kind of freedom, making money and so on, doing what they love. But I was only consuming their content. Okay, so point A, being a consumer. Point B, being a creator. Awesome. I watch a podcast. I note down some ideas. I take those ideas and I just like talk about what I learned that day. I'm saying, hello world, I have no idea what I'm doing. I want to get to point B. I'm right now in point A, and I will document my process. That's it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to like have deep knowledge of something to like start talking about it.
I kind of found you through your YouTube channel. What kind of impressed me the most, essentially, is with a relatively small amount of subscribers, you've created pretty amazing community on School that has grown in size right now. I know that you also have like clarity calls and strategy calls with people from your community. I've also had that call with you, so that was pretty cool. But I guess I'm gonna kind of rewind a little bit and go to your corporate job, because you've started in financial sector and you've had your individual clients where you were kind of helping them out with their financial challenges. Where did the seed of content creation start for you? Like how did that initial idea of like, hey, I could maybe do something online or I could create something online, where did it start for you?
Yeah, man. So first of all, I'm happy that we are doing this, and like I'm just so happy for the like it really works. Like when you put yourself out there, you actually find people that are like-minded, and like I'm grateful for the algorithm first of all that connected us, and like it's so crazy because before I start answering your questions, like I just want to like take a moment and to really feel that this actually works. I mean, you take an idea you have inside your mind, you put it on the internet in a form of like a video you make or something like a creation that comes out of your mind, and like it works. Like the algorithm will take you like around the world, and at some point someone else will see what you make and say, hey, I like this. And like this, it's crazy that I think before I got into content creation, and I used to like watch all these big creators, like meet a lot of friends and do collaborations and do like podcasts like this. I was like, wow, how do these people even do it in the first place? And now is like one of the first times like I actually feel it on my own skin. So I'm happy for that. Now to take it back to how this whole journey started, I guess because you're also kind of in the same spot as I am, and like you also are transitioning from like an old life to a new life.
Right.
So I think that there are certain cycles in your life, certain chapters that you must go through to reach a certain point, or a certain aspect of awareness about who you are, what you want, and what kind of people you want to surround yourself with, what what you want your day-to-day actions to be. We are basically shown since we are like kids that you can have like some basic roads in life, right?
Mm.
Being in a corporate environment, which I've been for the past 4 years. I worked in finance, as I said, and at the same time, you have all these strict etiquettes when you work with like um, clients in finance and financial goals and like numbers and all that stuff. And it's I'm very grateful that I've been through that and I saw what it was. But at the same time, I believe, and now I know for sure, that a lot of us are made to work something creative, to do creative work.
Mm.
I think by design, we are not actually made to sit, I don't know, on like meetings every day that are not related to your deepest passion, or like to do work that is extremely repetitive and like it doesn't always challenge you to grow. And one of the reasons I had to like live that life, which now in retrospect, I used to dream about that life. Like 6 7 years ago, I used to dream like about what I lived for the past 4 years. And this is quite crazy because there are these moments in life where you dream about stuff and you want to live those things, and then they happen to you, and then you break through another level of awareness, and you realize, but wait, I actually like this thing more than this thing. And this is like an endless journey. And I think um you can actually never reach a point where you will be like, okay, yeah, this is like the perfect thing for me. You'll always go to this journey. But I think what matters most is that you actually understand this process. And when I realized this, like this was last year in so in 2023, in the beginning of the year, I kind of felt that I was hitting that glass ceiling. Like life was good, I was making money. I had friends. I had connections. I could have network opportunities. I could go. I could level up. But I could kind of see in the future. Like I had tasted what that life looked like, and I guess you know exactly what I'm talking about by the way you smile. You
Yeah.
have this glass ceiling, right? You can see it, but there's something inside that's tell you, wait, but maybe there's more. Maybe there's something that will connect more with who you truly are. And this voice, like it grew so much that I couldn't ignore it. Like it grew so strong, and it something felt wrong. I mean, I saw all these people that were building certain lifestyles, having a lot more freedom, because I do believe like one of the strongest values for me is to able to be actually free and to have like time freedom, location freedom, and obviously financial freedom. But like
Mhm.
time and location freedom to be able to work from wherever you want and whenever you want, to make your own schedule, your own calendar. Like this is very sexy. And to be able to like do this on your own timeline, like not a lot of careers offer you these opportunities. I think like one of the biggest factors for moving to and looking towards content creation and like building something on the internet was the freedom that was associated with it. But at the same time, I knew that the chances of meeting people that were on the same mission as I was, were like way bigger on the internet. Because look, we all have our own local corner of the world, right? You can meet a certain amount of people if you go out in your city, or maybe you change cities and so on. But you will never be able to like truly reach like a global network of people if you don't surf the internet and don't put your ideas out there. So the main goal, I think,
Correct.
I think came from this need of being connected to like-minded people. That's like this is maybe why I actually ended up creating a community because it's like
Yeah.
the modern version of our tribes, like our ancestors when they were living in tribes. So I guess we are still them, but we have like modern tools. We have like laptops, cameras, and stuff like this. So yeah. So this started the journey, and like everybody, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was so scared. And I think like the biggest win and the biggest success for me is that I healed a lot of my traumas, of my fears, because I think, as for example, people like we are from Europe, right? From this continent. For example, in contrast with like American people, which to be honest, like they invented like a lot of the stuff we use, like YouTube, like iPhones and all these apps, right? So we kind of have this I think this fear, like it's more people are more fearful to put themselves out there. I think in the beginning, like this should be the only goal, because in the beginning when you like make content and you don't have, I don't know, like experience, or you didn't go through something special, or you don't have like a network of celebrities or something like this, nobody will care. So you do it for your own therapy. And it's basically free. You just need to like take your ideas and imagine you're like with your psychologist, and you're talking about what's going on, and at some point you transcend that fear, and it actually works. So you're curing yourself from all that fear of being who you truly are and saying what you truly think. And for the first part, like I think this was the only goal. And I started on Twitter, and slowly I worked on my courage, because in writing you don't really need to like show your face and stuff like that. up to a point where I posted my first video on YouTube, which was like in November last year. So it took me like 7 months of just thinking about it to reach to a point where I made my first video. But it was so interesting that after I posted, so this is one of the biggest lessons. Like after I made the video and I posted it on my YouTube, and like it kind of became official for my brain. So I made the declaration that hello, I'm here, I'm going to do this. And since that moment, like all the thoughts I had were kind of reoriented towards making this like happen and like shifting my identity, because there was a big shift in identity that I went through. So I was this guy that I've never made like videos in my entire life. Like this was not part of who I was. So I had to like go into a brain surgery and tell my brain that okay, up until this point, this the story was this, but now it's going to change. And all of a sudden, meaning several months. So first video I made it in November. Then like it took me another month to make the second video. But slowly, like 3 months in, I reached a point where I was making one video per week, which was so crazy to me because like several months before I was so scared of it, and now I'm making a video a week. And like just the fact that you get to a point where you realize, wait, even though I believed I don't have any ideas, I can create anything, I'm not special, I don't have what to share with the world, you reach a point of awareness where you realize that what the fuck, so this is how all these people do it. They just did the work, and then at some point their identity shifted and they went all in and realized that wait, I can also do this, and this is how every creator does it. And these people that are really big, they just did it for a very long time. That's all. That's the only difference at the end of the day. But until you like really see this on your own skin and feel it with, time spent doing these creations, these videos, these posts, you won't really understand it. So that led me to a point where I was kind of lost. Like beginner hell is real, especially when you go into content creation. And like, for example, I was kind of alone. Like I had, because I left my old life behind, like the corporate thing. Like all my friends were from there, from that world. So a lot of them called me crazy to like leave, which could have been like a high paying career and like a very safe life, to like pursue this thing. And like a lot of people that I was in close contact with were like, um, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? It
What
could get
about
lonely.
family? What about your
Family.
parents or siblings?
Yeah, so this is interesting because like I have an older sister which is 8 years older. So my parents are quite old. Like my dad, for example, is 70 years old. So there is like a big generational gap. Like
Yeah.
I could go like up to a certain point in explaining what I do. And this is like really interesting because if you could really actually go very deep and like connect with your parents, explain them what you really do, and so they could understand, then it makes total sense. But for me, like I knew that there was that ceiling, so I had to kind of keep it at that level. And they were like supportive because, well, I was doing stuff and they could see me that I was growing. I Every time I got a chance, I would explain like what I realized and like stuff like this. So they were supportive, but like they didn't understand, and it's normal because there is like this whole content thing and build your own brand and so on is like fairly new. Like not it's not like the norm right now. But I think it will be at some point in the future because it's like you have your CV, but now it's digital. It's like the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of people who are starting, they may not kind of set the right expectations for the work, and they are looking up to the big creators, the creators who have millions of subscribers, let's say, and they see the quality, the level of quality that they, provide, and they, at least that was my experience, that I felt overwhelmed even starting. And then I spoke to people or looked at the oldest videos that these people had, and you can see like they are, their parents are moving around and they're creating this messy video. Like the content's not as clear as it's right now after many years of practicing. And it's like, yeah, they've all been there in that kind of starting journey when it's like, okay, I don't have a great gear, I don't have a great script, but I have an idea maybe, or I have something interesting to talk about, or I have passions or hobbies. And then I think through that interest and being kind of pumped about it, about what you do, like people kind of gravitate towards you. That's what I saw in you. When I saw your videos, it's like, okay, maybe the quality of the footage is not there, but you actually had this passion of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm fully kind of committed to this. I have certain problems. I'm kind of trying to document my own journey, and I just want to kind of find people who want to kind of go on that journey with me. And I want to find people who are interested in this kind of approach, and kind of share the kind of journey with others, and maybe find what worked, what didn't work, share the experience with their audience, on top of maybe the hobbies, the passions, the stuff that they are sharing with. So that was cool to see in you. And yeah, the initial challenges, you don't have that great script, you kind of are shy in front of the camera. And hey, after many years, I'm still kind of shy in front of the camera. It doesn't get any better, although it may look to the audience like it gets better, but sometimes it feels a little bit clunky, a little bit like robotic. But yeah, I mean, it's these guys who we are looking up to, they already have years of experience, and they are kind of somewhere maybe farther along the journey, but it doesn't mean that journey cannot start for us with where we are. There is a famous saying that the best time to start was 10 years ago, and the second best time is today. I always say, like, hey, just start, and don't worry about, like, I don't know, the quality of footage or the script. As long as you have interest and passion and you're genuine and authentic, I think that will work.
Yeah, man. And like what you said hit home so hard for me because like I realized that so in the process of like getting started with video, which was like one of the biggest levers ever,
Hmm.
was that this whole comparison thing you mentioned, where you like it's just like you get paralyzed because on one hand you have the internet, you have all these people that you can look up to, like infinite inspiration, and they seem like it's so easy for them to do everything. Like they have huge audiences, they work out, they have a lot of money, they have great relationships. But this is like one hell of a thing to understand, that you can actually see like a very narrow slice of someone's life on the internet,
Mhm.
and you don't really know what's actually happening there. So like it's okay if you compare yourself to get inspiration, but who who actually does this? I mean, I've really had like a deep talk with myself, and I realized on one level of my mind I was telling myself, okay, so if these people can do it, I can also do it. But like on many deeper levels, it was like a toxic discussion with myself. Like they've made it, like all these people, you are already like 26 years old, like it's too late for you, and like all this nonsense, all this bullshit. And I think this is what holds people back the most, having these toxic conversations where they just talk themselves out of it. And like it
Hmm.
works with everything, like going to the gym, finding a girlfriend, like making money, building business, like everything. And we don't realize it because we spend so much time with our thoughts every day that you don't even realize you are talking yourself out of doing the thing you actually want doing. And I think
Hmm.
making videos, creating stuff on the internet helps a lot with that, because you get more awareness about your thoughts. Like when you, for example, create a video, you write a script, like you examine your ideas, examine your thoughts, examine your conversations, because you download ideas from that. You also download ideas from what you consume, obviously, but like all this time you spend with yourself, with your thoughts, like creating, this is like going to the gym for your attention and for, being aware of what's happening inside. This is why I think it's one of the unseen benefits of this career. Like, it's like actually like you meditate a lot on your thoughts. And I think like these people that create amazing things on the internet that get like millions of people to follow them and so on, reach a point where they either understand how to really work the algorithm, or they reach a point where they really understand how to work themselves and like connect, create like authentic, what you said, content, like pure thing that comes out of them, and other people like purely resonate. And I think this, like for me, this is the goal, to like really reach that state where I'm so open with myself that I can actually create things that genuinely people can see and like resonate without trying to, surf the algorithm, like look at trends and hop on the what's going on. Because I think on the one hand you might earn like more attention faster, but on the other hand you give up the opportunity to like go really deep and see what's going on inside there. I mean, I don't know, what do you think about this? How do you feel about this?
I think generally it's tough for someone who's starting not hop on the trends. I understand the logic of like, hey, I want to get some views, I want to get some traction. There's that feeling of like I'm creating content and there's like 5 views or 10 views, and they feel like, hey, it's who am I talking to? I mean, I'm trying to throw something at the wall and hoping that something's gonna stick, and it's like, yeah, it can feel a little bit discouraging. So I see the point where people would say, okay, I'm gonna maybe look up some trends and kind of hook up with the trends within my niche or within what kind of interests me. At the same time, I agree with you in terms of like, hey, maybe at the moment in time I'm really into certain stuff that aren't trending, let's say. But yeah, because of me being like fully immersed into this and I want to talk about it and I want to share my experience, like, okay, I'm going to get less views, but I kind of stick with my own values and what kind of drives me. Because another thing is that I think once you keep chasing trends and things like that, I mean, you may get like a burnout out of the whole thing because it's no longer passion, but it's chasing someone else's passions or someone else's stuff, or chasing algorithms, chasing something it's not going to be fulfilling long term.
There was this wave of like big YouTubers that were like quitting and retiring like recently
Mm.
in the past
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
And like there was this girl that she made a video where she said why she was quitting this whole social media thing. And like the main point was that she built something that was a trap for her. Like because she surfed so hard the algorithms, and like all the titles were like make money in 30 days using this whatever. Like she reached a point where she said basically she created a trap for herself. Like she didn't find any joy, and she
Mhm.
had like 2 million followers or something like that, subscribers. So I was like watching this video, and I was like, I could see, in the future, and I could imagine like, but I don't want to like do this to create another corporate life for myself, because I
Yeah.
just exited one. Like I like the things I did because like I had to, because they created a certain value, and based on the value I made money. So I,
Mm.
I saw what that looks like, and you can create a career on the internet that does exactly that.
Mm.
And I think you might even make money faster that way. But you trade a very big and important thing, which is like the freedom to be yourself and to create in your name. And I think this is where you have this opposite trend of people, starting their brands, like not trying, or like picking a direction rather than a niche. So
Mm.
you just like build yourself into the niche, but at the same time, because no one really knows who the hell are you, or what you do, or why would they listen to you, like it takes longer, and it's not as rewarding in the beginning. But there are a few names and a few people that made it this way, and their content is just different. It's simply different. Like you can feel it when you watch it. Like the videos are different, like, and for some reason they have this element that it's different. And I think this is what comes as a result of like choosing this other path rather than the first path we were talking about, where you build yourself like a business, another corporate life, but it's
Yeah.
like built by you. So yeah, it's really really interesting, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I know that it will take longer, and I think what's really important is that you make a contract with yourself. I mean, obviously, you know this better than I do, because first of all, you had some videos that like did like what, 150 or 800,000 views or something like that.
Couple.
So yeah, like so you definitely know this better than I do. But like the idea is, it's so tempting, to want to make money on the other hand. And this is why I think I will come back to the idea that it's important for you to, before you start this journey, to like either have like a few years worth of savings if you want to quit your old thing, or not quit it at all. Like the reason I quit was because I made money, and like I created a buffer for like 3 to 4 years of savings, and I could just focus on this full time. If I
Mhm.
was not able to do this, I would have not quit like what I was doing before. I would have tried to do it like at the same time, because you don't want the stress of money when you try to create something like this. I mean, if you try to turn yourself into a brand and into a niche, and you don't want to like monetize the first thing that, like the first opportunity you have, you need money from somewhere, from some other place. I think it's better. I mean, I don't know what's better or not, like, or worse, but like for me it was better to like spend some years, get some skills. I worked in finance, but I also worked like in sales in finance, so these were skills that were stacking. Make some money, and then use the experience I had to basically be comfortable enough to do this like on my own pace and not hurry. I
Mhm.
think I would have I would have quit it, like this whole thing, because it's hard. Like it takes months, it takes years, and you need to have a lot of patience. And if you also have the pressure of money, then it becomes really hard, like really really hard. I think it's really important to like, if you can quit your job, keep it, and do this like part time until you start to make money, or if you can quit it but like have a buffer.
And were you actually creating content while working?
Yeah, so I started like my first piece of intentional content was in May 2003 last year, and I officially quit in like September last year. So like over the summer, I was working, and I was working towards like a promotion, which was
Yeah.
funny because like I worked at the promotion, I got the promotion, and then I quit. But like, yeah, I tried to maximize what happened before, because I was not working like a normal job. Like I had my own business, and we had like a contract, so I was kind of having my own business, but not really. I was working with a bigger company, so I get some dividends. That's why I pushed it. So I started making content. So the plan was, okay, get the savings, have the safety, start making content, like get enough confidence. So I started slow, no pressure. Like I posted whenever I wanted to show my brain that it's safe and it's okay. And like in the beginning, you want to see that, you want to get to the realization that nobody really cares, as fast as possible. And that's what Twitter did for me, because like none of my friends were on Twitter, and I could just like do whatever. And I realized that like nobody cares, and I was like, okay, so it's safe. Like no one. For some reason, I believe that if you post something on the internet, like your ideas, like there will be like 10 comments. They say, you stupid, shut up.
Yes.
Like for some reason I thought that this is what was going to happen, but it didn't happen. And then I realized, okay, this was stupid. So now I can start creating more. So yeah, I worked these months for the promotion, which was quite stressful. But because here I didn't have like an audience and like
Mhm.
people that were expected, like I was just, it's me, like 5 followers on Twitter, and
Yeah.
like just writing stuff. It was okay. Like it showed my brain that it's safe. And then after I quit, like I started traveling with my girlfriend. Like I did a whole, like close the chapter and open another chapter. So we started like slow traveling through Europe. We left by car from Romania and traveled like to Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and so on. We spent like 1 month, in each place we chose to like see how it feels and so on. And I think this is really cool. One of the other perks of this, of having the flexibility to, I mean, the office I have right now is like this: the laptop, like the camera, and like my phone, and that's all. Like this is crazy if you think about it. And I can like take it. So right now I live on an island, right? And I can just I have a very minimal like life. My whole everything I have like fits in like two backpacks. And like I can impact millions with this setup. Like, this is crazy. Like, I can potentially do this. Like, this freedom, like not having so many things to worry about, like it's so rewarding. It opens your mind to, like, you have way more energy if you like let go of this useless stuff that you have. And like, so yeah, coming back to the idea, was that after I quit, like I took like 2 months to like, okay, that chapter is over. And then I made the first video on YouTube, and where I made it like official that this is happening.
That's pretty cool, man. When you were traveling with your ex-girlfriend,
Yes.
were you creating content at that time, or you
Yeah.
just said,
So
I need a breather and I want to, once we settle in one location, that's when I will continue? Or you were kind of figuring out things and brainstorming with your ex-girlfriend of how to maybe approach it, and how
yeah.
did it
So
look?
in September, ending of September, beginning of October, when I quit and we left, we left the country. So it took 2 months for me to like take a breather, because the first video I posted on YouTube was like in the end of November. Like, I took 2 months to like really, okay, shit. So this is really happening. Oh my,
It's
I can't
happening.
go back. I can't go back. Like, all the bridges are burned. Like, I can't. This is it. So it helped a lot, because she also started her own journey like in content creation. So like
Mhm.
I was very lucky, because I like we were both doing the same thing. And I think this showed me that, well, what you really need, all you really need, is like to have one person that actually believes in you, or like at least goes in the same direction. Like that, this is what one of the biggest life hacks ever.
And just to confirm, apart from her, you didn't have any support like from friends, because they were in the
Yeah.
world of corporate world,
Yeah.
and the family kind of understood what you're doing. I would
Yeah.
imagine that essentially you didn't have like a support group that would kind of cheer you up other than your partner at the time.
My parents didn't really have any idea what was going on.
Yeah.
They were like a kind of freaked out, because I told them that I quit and I left that life behind, and they saw that it was like I was doing okay. And
Mhm.
they were like, "Are you sure?" Like, they were not on the same boat as I was. So yeah, I only had basically her. and
Mhm.
and I think like it would have been so much harder if it wasn't like, if we weren't in the same boat. But like after 2 months, like the first video I made, we were in Portugal, so we've been to like Italy, Spain, France, and so on. And I realized that, okay, because it was a vacation that I didn't take a vacation in a long time. And
Mhm.
you have all this idea that, like, oh, you need to get to financial freedom, chill on the beach, drink margaritas all day. Like, bro, no. You get bored. Like, after you do these 2 months, I did these 2 months, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this all day. Yeah, like I had the itch coming back. I need to do something. And then that's when I said, okay, it's time to like really actually start. So I made the video, and like everything became official. Well, officially in my brain, because like nobody really cared, like, and the people from my whole life, like, they
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
care either. Like my fear was that all my other friends will say, you want now to become an influencer, and like all that shitty, talk. Like,
yeah.
nobody really cared. Nobody really said anything. There were some people that said, wow, this is so brave, actually. And I was like, okay, okay. So yeah, nobody cared.
As an individual, when I was starting, I also had this fear of like, what will people think, And I had to kind of destroy that fear through realization that essentially nobody cares. Whatever you post, first of all, even the closest group that I had, let's say, yeah, like you said, they are actually very positive about what I'm doing. They get curious, and I'm like, and from places that I haven't realized, like people contact me and message me, hey, do you think I could get started with content creation, or I'm thinking of creating a YouTube channel? And initially, yeah, there's this kind of a fear of like, well, it's an internal talk that you have to clear and realize that it's nothing but your internal talk. I also had this like an imposter syndrome, that you have a feeling that, oh, I'm not on that level to produce content. Like, there's so many better people who can produce, I don't know, better quality content or whatever. And that talk may stop you in your tracks and stop you even starting. At least for me, like when I created first video, I'm like, that's so bad. Like the quality is so low and it doesn't look professional at all. But just one video, and then the second one, and then on the fifth one, I noticed, hey, now my talk's tiny bit smoother. Now I can kind of, it's getting somewhere. And then on the 10th video, you actually think it through the video and you have some bullet points. And then on the 20th video, you're like, okay, I could maybe invest in a slightly better microphone or have a lavalier microphone or something. These tiny little steps and the momentum's rolling. One tip that I always give people and say to people is like, hey, just build up some consistency. Like, don't worry about too much. Don't overthink it. Just have couple of videos rolling, and once you see like, hey, this video was seen by 100 people, like for big YouTubers, let's say 500 views is nothing, but then on the street, where would you find 100 people to talk to? Like, there's no way to find. And here someone talked, saw my video, saw my content, and maybe left a one comment. It means that someone actually, you offered someone some advice or some idea, or you resolved their problem or gave them another perspective, and people are like, hey, thanks for sharing this. This really helped me. And then once you see this comment, it's like, wow, I actually helped someone. It feels like just amazing. I mean, I when I saw my first kind of positive comments, I was like so pumped because I'm like, wow, I think that I'm just throwing it at the void, but actually there is some response, and the response started. And then, yeah, I would always say like, build that momentum of those videos, a response is going to come. Speaking of that initial start, what were your biggest challenges that you faced when you started created content? Like, was it those self-critique or this self kind of toxic thoughts that you had about not starting, or was it that you didn't have much support?
So the biggest challenges, I think, was like the biggest one was realizing that everything is just in my head. Like all the stories, all the fears, everything is just in my head, and I am the creator of that story. And I just couldn't like wrap my head around it and like really own it, you know. I had this victim mindset that I some things needed to happen in order for me to actually go do this. Like I either needed to feel more validated, or I either needed more I don't know, respect, or there was something like my brain. The story was that something needs to happen in order for me to have enough confidence in myself to go and actually do the work, which I think was, it took so many months of like making things, throwing stuff at the wall, and people not reacting. We are so entitled. We think everybody's watching us. I was so guilty of this. And then I came across this concept called Sonder, which is um, saying that we are all the main characters in our own stories. Like everybody we meet, like the barista at the shop, like the construction worker on the side of the road, like everybody is the main character in their own story. All the other people are the NPCs, the non-playable characters, like the people that you just interact for a second and they just say the same thing, right? We don't realize that to them, to the other people, we are the NPCs. To the barista, I'm just another guy that says hello, I want coffee, and she is or he is the main story in his in the main character in his own story. So I realized that if I wouldn't got into content creation, and if I wouldn't take my ideas and like turn them into videos, put them out there, I would have not received the the confirmation that this is true. And this is why I think like all this stuff, the information you get, like the podcast you listen to, like even this, like it's okay, you get the guideline, but you need to go out there in the world. Anyone will watch this. Okay, this is cool information, but you have to like do it like for real. You have to like take your ideas, record them, make them into something, put them out there. So otherwise, like, what we are talking about right now won't make sense to you. Like it sounds cool. Yeah, like you have to change the story you're telling yourself. Cool. So I think this was like the biggest thing.
No, I want to kind of pause on this, because then I think for the viewer, for the audience who's watching this right now, let's talk about like actionable steps. If there was a person, let's say, on the other side who's watching this and they are right now in the corporate world and they think like, hey, there is more to life that I'd like to create, and I'd like to maybe build my own community. I'd like to give and share support to others. and get support from others, create this creative community where I could build content with them, what would be the actionable steps that you would say? Where do I take it? How do I start?
Perfect. So this reminds me a lot of our conversation that we had.
I know.
And like it's like right now when I think about it, it seems so simple, but it was so complicated to figure this out. But
Mm.
the only thing you really need to do is to like look at the current problems you have. So let's take me for as an example. So I was in the corporate world. I felt that I don't have enough freedom. I wanted to like do something that gives me the freedom I have today. I realized that I have like the thing that works for me is I need to be a creator of some kind. So once I realized that, another whole set of problems open up. Okay, but what do I talk about? Like, what? I'm not talented. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. Like all these things, which by the way they don't really matter, because all that matters is that you choose a problem that you have. So the problem I chose for me to solve was I wanted to become a creator. Okay.
Mm.
And now all you have to do is to learn how to solve it. So I was confused. I didn't like what was going on in my life. I wanted to transition to a different lifestyle. I wanted to become a creator. So I identified the point A and point B. So I was a consumer. I consumed this content. I looked at these people doing this stuff, having this kind of freedom, making money and so on, doing what they love. But I was only consuming their content. Okay, so point A being a consumer, point B being a creator. Awesome. And now what I do to create everything is I just document what I'm learning. So I watch a podcast. I note down some ideas. I take those ideas and I just like talk about what I learned that day. And if you look at my first tweet, it's exactly this. I'm saying, "Hello world, I have no idea what I'm doing. I want to get to point B. I'm right now in point A, and I will document my process." That's it. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to like have deep knowledge of something to like start talking about it. Because if you present yourself in this way and say, "Hey, I want to go there," and actually I use the internet to find other people that have interest in the same thing as I do. It could be like you are skinny and you want to get muscle, or you want to like learn how to play chess, or like you could build a brand on anything about anything. So like I had a guy I was talking about. He was passionate about gardening and he wanted to like learn how to grow his own food. So he built a community like, "Hey, I have no idea how to grow my own tomatoes, but I'm going to document everything I learn about growing tomatoes." And he has like now has like a 200 people community. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like it doesn't matter your passion. There are people on the internet that have the same passion. There is a guy that has an audience of several million people. He just records, he goes around the world in elevators and records the trip in the elevator. Like you have no idea. You think that you are weird and maybe like you have no one cares about your passions. Bro, like the internet is so big. There are like billions and billions of people. Like for sure there are a lot of people on the internet that once they discover what you talk about, no matter how unimportant it seems and boring it seems to you, like there will be people that will resonate. And this is like a law of nature, and it's simply true. Like everybody can confirm this, that started and like posted content and were consistent enough to like realize that, holy shit. I realized this when so I have like 200 subscribers on YouTube. By all definitions, I'm a beginner. But in my community, there are 130 people, which is like a little bit crazy now. And there were people that asked me about building a brand, like, and I was, look, I have 200 subscribers. What advice do you want for me? But we connected simply because we have the same interests. We want to grow. We want to grow a brand, so we might exchange ideas. I don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be an expert. So take that idea out of your mind and just define point A, define point B, and make an announcement. Look, I work this job. I do these things, but I started documenting, and I will start documenting how I going from point A to point B. And from there, it will be a process of iteration and iteration and iteration up until the point you'll reach like a certain clarity that these are the things you like talking about the most. And they might be different. maybe you like philosophy, maybe you like, I don't know, you're passionate about cars and photography. And like, this is a very unique mix. I know for you, Michael, you are a very interesting individual because you have all these like this cocktail of passions that even they are different from one another, like they have something magical when you put them together. For example, this is why I connected so much with you, because you understand this and you use it, and like you're not like, oh, but yes, but like I know you're passionate about coffee, and at the same time, like you had this season in your life where you wanted to try to learn all these different things to like realize, okay, what are my passions, what are my, and you have to embrace that. You have to embrace that even if you are, let's say your passions are not like consistent, or you're like not all in on a certain thing, that doesn't mean you don't have anything valuable to say. There are so many people that are in this same bucket as we are, and I think this is why we also connected. Like you also saw this in me and I also saw this in you. Like not not picking something was something that connected us. This is also a niche, so yeah, I think until you reach like a very big clarity, a stage where you can say, okay, yes, these are my content pillars and this is what I like talking about, you can do whatever you want. So just pick point A, point B, and just announce that you're going to talk about what you learn. As simple as that. You can start with text, with Twitter, if you're not comfortable enough, or if you're comfortable enough with video, because truth is, at some point you'll realize it was just in your mind and you're actually comfortable, even if you think you're introverted or extroverted. By the way, these concepts don't really exist, because you can be whatever you want. It's just a story you tell yourself, and you'll realize that, okay, so actually I could have been making videos this whole time. I realized this as well. Like I could have started like way before, but it was the story I was telling myself. So yeah, I think just start with point A, go to document how you're going to point B, and whatever how long it takes. I mean, you would do that anyways, no? Like if you pick a problem in your life, I mean, that's a problem for you. Like it's a real problem. You want to solve it, no? That's why you choose it. Like everybody has a problem. Like I'm not talking about passions. Like if you have really clear passions, then it's even easier. But problems, like you have problems. Everybody has problems.
Yeah.
So that's the magic of it. Like whoever is listening to this, like choose a problem you have, and you would want to solve it either way, even if you would make content or even if you wouldn't. But if you make content about it, you'll end up solving the problem and maybe help like a lot other people on in this world solve the same problem and find their tribe in the process.
It's like content is building itself up through your problems. You're creating content that you can talk about, and then as you resolve your problems and make a content about it, and you see essentially what kind of sticks, what resonates with others, because I think you have this approach of like being more, initially at least, more generalistic, to have like, hey, don't constrain yourself into like, oh, I'm gonna just focus on what's trending, or I'm gonna focusing, I mean, unless you have like a clear passion that you're like a teenager and you've already been doing something for 10 years and you love it and you know you're gonna die with that passion, then go for it, man. But most of the people, the reality is this, that they don't have that clear cut life path. Being generalistic means that, hey, I can dab a little bit into, like, for me personally, maybe coffee making or bike packing or video making or photography. As the content builds itself, then it can narrow down or branch out. That's kind of farther down the line.
So it's also okay that you can later change it. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's actually this is how things work. I also like change the community. I had like a iteration, and I know that you also like up to this point you had multiple channels, no? So you had like the tech channel, no?
Yes, so I have around like 4 or 5 channels, and I've started. Initially, the one that I've started is the tech channel, so it's kind of gadgets, electronics. But I also have a separate channel more related to videography, and then I had some other ones that I was just playing and testing. So it would be more like, at some stage I had a channel for crypto.
Yeah, so this is what the process actually looks like. I mean, after you start, because you mentioned how people should start, so we covered that. And then
Yeah.
how it continues, like it's not like you start and then it either works or it doesn't. No, it actually takes like a lot of time where you try different stuff, like you experiment with with a lot of things, up until the point you realize, okay, so my priorities, like the things I'm most passionate about and what I like talking about the most, are like these three things, for example. And then you narrow it down and it becomes clear, like this is how it looks like, and it takes longer, way longer than we expect, like way longer. And it's okay. That's why if you go down this path of like turning yourself into your life's work, because essentially this is what we're doing, like in this process, not only that, like you find your life's work and you turn yourself and monetize your mind and your passions and so on, but you really just get the chance to document everything, and you can look back at all your creations and see what the hell happened. Like you can see the mistakes, you can see the wrong opinions that you had about what you should do or not. Like you will be aware of all this because you document the process. Like you make videos about what you think, about how you think. And I think this is like another unseen benefit of this whole like career path, where you document like your ideas and your thought process. Because look, if you will forget, I mean we forget, like you forget the lessons, that's why you repeat them, no? That's why even in like relationships, like you repeat the same relationship up until the point you like learn your lesson. It's like the same in business, the same in branding. So it's really important to like have this library of creations about what you did and what how you thought and your ideas, because you can look back and see, holy shit, like 2 years ago I thought this was true, but it's not. So
Another kind of a question that may be simple, but some people may overthink it is, let's say, gear and equipment. What would you say to someone who says like, hey, what gear do I need? Do I need a professional camera, the best mic, or soft box, or some lightning, things like that? What do you say to those?
I look at you and I see how professional it looks, and like I love it, and it transfers a lot of credibility. But in the beginning, and so I've made these 200 subscribers with this. Like this is an iPhone 12 mini. iPhone 12 is like from 4 years ago, right? And it doesn't really matter. This type of content, this type of brand that we are talking about, at least in the beginning, where you don't have like millions of subscribers that care about the aesthetics. Like in the beginning, it's more about you overcoming your fears, and you don't need like a special camera to overcome your fears. You need to do it. Make it as simple as possible. So I also bought a camera because right now, so I have a Sony EV10. I'm not a photography guy, and it's more complicated for me to like calibrate the camera and use it than it is my phone. So in the beginning, like the reason it took me like from the first video to the second video, it took me 1 month, was because I didn't get like the setup right. I didn't know how to use, like a teleprompter with the camera. Like on the phone, you can get in the beginning up until the point you have ideas and they flow. Like you need to use a teleprompter to like talk in front of the camera to be comfortable enough. So on the phone, you can like get an app and have your ideas and like use it to like have a certain flow. So make it as simple as possible. I don't know, in the perspective of someone that cares a lot about photography and videography, I guess it's obviously different. And if you have the possibility and the knowledge, sure, go ahead. It will look better. It will give you more credibility. In the beginning, like it doesn't really matter that much, because guess what? There are not a lot of people that know about you. So it's like the returns on your investment is not that high in the beginning. So like the biggest return on your investment is to just start with what you have. Like the phones we have today are pretty powerful to like handle a video, and
More than
you
enough.
just yeah, and you just need like a tripod or something to like put your phone and to record yourself. And I think that's pretty much all you need. If you get into this type of content where you use your mind and you turn your ideas into like content. If you go into different types of content, into like, I don't know, entertainment or like faceless YouTube channel and stuff like that, where you use, I don't know, animations and stuff like that, then yeah, there is a different story. But for this, I think this is like the easiest way to begin, and it has the highest return on investment because you don't really need to have special gear. I don't know, what do you feel, what do you think?
Initially, when I started my gadget channel, I mean, I just had a phone from 8 years ago. And what I think, what was more important was the value that I was bringing with the video. So it was, let's say, the content, the problem solving part of the video was what was the value of the video. These were the videos that I spent the least amount of time and in the long run made me the most money when you think about finances, you know, so that's kind of funny. So I would also totally agree with you, make it as easy as possible. Like if you can have a setup that you come in and essentially you can immediately click on and start recording, that's kind of ideal. Initially, not many people will look at your videos, spending 10, 20 hours on editing and making sure that the audio's better. Then I don't know, then most people won't even notice the difference in audio. The reality is, so I'd focus on get the ball rolling, get a couple of videos done, have some bullet points on what you want to talk about, and increase experience in that rather than focusing on some fancy gear.
Yeah, and like it's so funny because in the beginning you think that it's because of the camera that these creators,
Yeah.
because of the quality, this is why they have like a following, or like they've made it because of what's outside, because you don't really consider that like it's so much more when you make content like this, where like storytelling is very important, like the main the important thing in the content is how you tell the story and how you express what you're trying to say. This type of content, and for example, like the last video I posted, which is literally has no edit, it's like just some cuts when I was like my words were like flying out of my mouth, and like it brought me like 30 subscribers, which is insane. And like it's just it's simple, it's me with my phone saying some things. And I've never had a video like this. For me this is huge because like I have 200 subscribers, so 30 subscribers is like a lot. But the idea is that it's just the phone, man. So it's just your thoughts. I made 40 videos so far, so I kind of get more clarity of how I talk and what I should talk about, in a way that it makes me feel it makes me feel good, but it also at the same time, like it impacts the right people. So I think this should be the focus. Like the gear is something that at some point, so in like 2 months, I'll have an editor that will move in house with me, and we'll try some things. But I know I am doing this full time. Like I reach a point where I make money from this. So this became my thing. And now it makes sense to think about making investments into taking it a level higher, because I had the confirmation. I had people that came to me that wanted to I had someone that came and requested consultations from me, and I had the validation that okay, so now I can go full in. But if you take all these thoughts and like say, hey, maybe I need this and this and this, and I need to spend all this money and I need to prepare, and then it will be so hard to like actually do the work. Do the work first, get confirmation, have patience, and then yes, level up, invest into gear, and so on.
Yeah, I agree. So also if the people, someone who's watching it right now and are thinking, hey, how much money do I need to spend initially? Do I need some serious investment? Would you agree that, hey, that's not necessary and you can start with, I mean, pretty much everyone has a phone right now, and all the phones from like 5 years ago, they are good enough to make a good recording and a quality video, and it's just your storytelling, your value that you're bringing, and just get started and don't overcomplicate things. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I think like you only need like an account on whatever platform you start on. You don't even need, for example, when I started on Twitter, I bought like the verified badge. No one cares about your verified badge. Like it was stupid. And you don't need any money. You just need to like get your ideas together. You have a lot of free stuff on YouTube you can learn. You don't even need to like buy courses or stuff like this. You can just take your thoughts, take what's working for your favorite creators, find like a mix of two or three that you like and you like what they do, and just think about, okay, I like this thing about this creator, this other thing about this other creator, so I feel like I'm a mix of these creators. And then you do that in the beginning. do something that is similar to their work to get to have like a path, right? Because there's a reason you are attracted and you watch their content. Like this is what I did. This is how I got clarity in the beginning. Because I didn't start. I started only with this type of content where I just took ideas, look at my life, see where was the meeting point, and made those ideas that I heard outside, married those ideas with experience from my life. And in the beginning, it was like nothing really interesting. Like it was kind of the same, but slowly, video after video, I got to the point where I started to like understand how to create something that's 100% original and like 100% original. I don't think there's like 100% original nowadays because like
Yeah.
whatever. But the idea is that you feel that you can actually create without actually consuming and like taking like 80% inspiration from another place. But if you really are stuck and have no idea where to start or how to do it, you need to have some inspiration, some kind of inspiration that will give you the clarity to like actually have the first iterations out.
Well, yeah, I agree with inspiration, but also one huge benefit of content creation is that, yeah, you're turning from that content consumer when you've been like watching content and for, let's say, entertainment purposes. Like myself, I remember I would be watching a ton of content and not really writing down, let's say, bullet points of what I've learned. And reality is that even if there is something interesting that you could learn, if you don't kind of practice it after maybe watching the video, the chances are in a week time you're gonna forget all that knowledge. I think we've all watched and we've consumed enough. Like it's time to get creative, and it's time to get started with creation rather than consumption.
Yeah, and to like have a system where you can like capture the ideas like what you said.
Mm.
Like one of the turning points where I started to like streamline and like get consistent with videos and like not to feel that they are like a burden was to have like this bank of ideas. So I use Notion and I just have this template where I store like if I watch a YouTube video or I watch something, anything, and I like it, I just paste the link there. And or if I hear an idea, I just note it there. And at some point when I want to create a video, I look behind, and I
Mhm.
have everything that's there systemized, and I can see, okay, this made me realize this, or this video made me realize this. And then you just get good at using a system and you'll never run out of ideas. And
Yeah.
there are so many things you could talk about, like literally you have infinite inspiration. Like if right now, like I have 40 videos published. My guess is when I will get to 100 videos, like I will get so comfortable with this process that like I could make more videos, but like not have enough time in a day. And I think this is so important because in the beginning you can wrap your hand around this. You think like it's so hard to get to come with ideas and to like create ideas, but it really isn't. Like you can have so many ideas, you just really need a system to like
Yeah.
take care of the order of the ideas and what's going on.
I also think that with time you're better at creating ideas, and you're more sensitive to brainstorming ideas on the go. And as you actually walk somewhere or meet someone, you have a conversation and there is ideas, let's say, coming into you. But yeah, when you're in corporate world, I feel like idea development is not as great. So once you're out and you start creating content, like the content ideas will be coming so much easier, and just ideas were popping from left and right.
Yeah, and I think like let's talk a little bit also about the downside because not everything is green in like content creation.
Yes.
So we might be passionate about it and like talk really high of it, but at the same time, look, it's exactly what you said. Like you'll reach a point where like I'm in the shower or I want to like fall asleep. And like I'm thinking like about the next video. And like, sometimes you need to like you need like a stop button, and this is what maybe like everybody throws rocks at like 9 to 5 lifestyle and so on, but bro, like if you get it right, 9 to 5, you can actually in the weekend you can like really zoom out and like not think about anything. Again, everything not always the grass is greener on the other side. Like here you have certain things, like here you won't stop if you don't learn how to stop. Like you'll always think about this, For me, I mean, I kind of like it. Sometimes I'm still learning how to like manage it and manage my thoughts around it because look, let's say you have a video that performs well. So like, for example, this is what I'm living right now. So I had the last video, like was one of the best videos I made, like the interactions, like the subscribers, the people that apply to the community, like it was the best video. And right now I'm thinking like, how can I make like an even better video and even better? And I see this will be like a game. You won't be able to like make always better and better and better videos. So you need to learn how to like manage this whole thing because you quit your 9 to 5, but you enter a 24/7. You have to like
Yeah.
manage your thoughts, learn to how to manage your thoughts. But I think this is a skill, the same
Mhm.
as creating stuff and having ideas. It's also a skill. It's not magic. I used to think that all these creators and like singers and people that were like celebrities were like they have some magical, I don't know, something that they could create. No, it's a skill. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like if you do this like for a certain period of time, you realize that so having ideas is a skill, and I can get better, and I can have ideas that resonate better. And
No one was born with a selfie stick coming
yeah,
out of the womb. I totally agree with you. Everyone gets there as long as you practice that muscle of content creation.
yeah, like what would you say is a good point where you can look back at like your work and like judge yourself? What point, like how many iterations? Like I heard like this podcast with Mr. Beast where he said like, okay, if you don't have like 100 videos uploaded on YouTube, there's like no reason for you to like even look back and ask yourself like, what did I do
Mm.
right or wrong? And like it kind of hit me. I mean, it makes sense. Like if you go to the gym the first day and you come back home and you look in the mirror, you'll see nothing. The same next day, the same, the next week. Like it will take some time, some iterations of going to the gym where you can look in the mirror. And if you look in the mirror and you say, like, if you judge yourself, you'll quit because you'll see
Yeah.
no results. So your brain, okay, so we invest here, we have no return on investment. Like
That metaphor of going to the gym and content creation is so good because it's
yeah,
like, yeah, the first time you go to the gym, the first week, it's more like a pain. You feel the cramps, your body's not used to it. Maybe you have some pains and aches or something, and it's kind of like in content creation, it's the same. I've spent so many hours on this, or I don't look good, or this content's not good enough, and all these kind of doubts that may be coming in. And the main point is just to continue. If you were to judge yourself, at least, I mean, yeah, 50 videos or more before I would go back and maybe think of something. But yeah, initially, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
yeah, it's so funny, no? Because like you can see that the same rules apply to like almost everything in life. Like this is why these examples work with the gym. And like even if you were talking about finding a partner, like if you would go on like 2 dates and you would have to choose from those two people, like it probably won't be like the greatest partner you could ever find. So yeah, unless you're very lucky. But like it's the same, like the same patterns. It's funny because once you do this, and this is why I think it helps if you actually find success in like other areas of your life before you start like building your own brand. It will help a lot because you will you will understand better that, oh, so this is not that different from the other things. For example, let's say you went to the gym for a few years and you realize that, oh, okay, so if I'm consistent, like at some point I start to look good. Or like if you have some work experience, no, okay, so I started building this business or I started working in this job, and like
Mm.
I was consistent for a few years and I got promoted, I made more money, and so on and so on. Like you realize the patterns are there. So I think people that feel that they are behind in life or behind with this whole content creation, brand creation thing, like I think that's in your advantage actually. Like you feeling behind means that maybe you have experience in other areas of your life, and it will help here. Trust it that you actually realize that you can use that here and you see the patterns. That's
Mhm.
why I think it's so important to be aware of what's going on inside your head, because like this feeling of feeling behind in life, like this consumed me so much. And for some reason I know like everybody has this, it doesn't matter. I heard like a podcast, there was this 18-year-old guy and he felt behind in life because like there was another 16-year-old that was like looking better in the gym and like making money. Like bro, what the fuck? You can play this game forever and like convince yourself that you are behind in life, but like 2 years old and like not do anything. So it's just another stupid game to play. Let's not play stupid games. Let's just accept the cards we've been dealt and like play those cards, man. Like you're alive. What are we talking about? You get another day to like work on this, and you are born in like in this period of life where all this stuff is possible. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know that people who are starting have also this thoughts of like, hey, am I, maybe it's too late for me, maybe the market's saturated, that I'm like all the niches that I thought about, everything's concentrated, there are these big YouTubers that are making most of the money, the algorithm's not going to be to my advantage, and there's nothing there for me. What would you say to those people?
I think this is just another opinion, because like we don't understand how big, how many people there really are in the world. So like I looked up some statistics when I started all this in like October 2023, because I made a video on this. There were like 5.5 billion social media accounts. But let's say there are a lot of bots and whatever,
Mhm.
and let's say half of those are like, I don't know, people that would not be interested in like your content. Maybe they are old people, maybe they are really young people, whatever.
Mhm.
Even if there was like 1 billion people that would be in the same area of your content that you are making, like there's so much you can't we can't imagine that. I truly don't believe in this age of the internet like there is this thing of a saturated market. I truly can can believe this, because after I saw that guy with that he was making content like going into elevators around the world. He was filming and he was like a few million people audience. Like doesn't really matter how weird or niche or like saturated people say the market is. You have to try it for yourself and see for yourself. And by try it, I don't mean like make a video and it doesn't go viral and you're like, oh, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know, like take at least 1 year of doing stuff, doing the work. So I started in like the first video was in November. So in November this year, I will have 1 year. Now is like June, end of June, and there so much happened. Like the people I met, like you, for example, and like all the other people in the community, and what the fuck? Like I didn't go viral, nothing happened. Like you don't understand on the smaller scale, like the things that could happen if you if you just put your ideas out there and have like 100 followers, whatever. It doesn't like the even 100 people. You don't understand. 100 people are a lot of people. So you don't need to chase that millions and millions and millions. You will get the benefits like really, really soon if you just stay consistent. Not in like the first week or the first month, but like in the first few months, you will connect with people that are going in the same direction, and you will be able to see that there is interest and there are people are curious about what you're doing. So yeah, I think I don't believe that in such I don't believe in these things such as saturated market, honestly.
Got it. Got it. Me too. I've read some research earlier this week about the amount of followers that you need to maybe make a kind of a full-time endeavor out of content creation. And it was very interesting because the research, which I will leave the link in the description. So what was interesting is that the average amount of followers that they had was 4,000 followers, 4K followers, which when someone's starting, they think like, wow, 4K, that's not a lot. When you look at the guys who have 100K, you think like, whoa, I need this at least to make something. But essentially, people who have 4,000 followers can make a living out of content creation. And that was actually spread across. So on average, people had 4 channels, but in general, the finances and the income was mainly coming from 2 channels. Or I guess the point that they were trying to make is that don't spread yourself thin in multiple channels or social medias.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also believe that not all followers are equal. Like
Yes.
you have this in the creator economy, you have the attention economy and you have the trust economy, right? So in the attention economy, you have like creators like Mr. Beast, like I don't know, Logan Paul,
Mm.
like all these people that create entertainment, right? In the trust economy, you have like the how-to creators, like how to build a business, how to like I don't know, like work out, like how to stuff. Okay, and
Experts, creators,
exactly,
experts.
exactly, yeah. And in the attention economy, to convert people to buy things, like you need big numbers. That's why you have Mr. Beast.
Mm.
Mr. Beast is selling chocolate, right? Why isn't Mr. Beast selling a course on how to grow on YouTube? Why? What's the reason? And like people that the amount of money people spend on these big creators is like is less, because this is how it works in the attention economy. In the trust economy, because you
Mm.
have a bigger return on investment. So me as a consumer, if I buy something that will help me look better, be healthier, or like make money or so on, like I will have a greater return on investment. So it makes sense for me to like spend more money to buy a certain product. What people don't realize is that, well, you can choose where you want to be. And if you want to be like the next Mr. Beast or something, that be aware that you have to go into the attention economy and like make certain type of content. I think, I don't know why, it seems like more attainable for me and the way I'm built and what I want to do in life, to go for the trust economy, where, I mean, I don't know, I never, I kind of want to be famous, but not, I want to be niche famous, So I want to be
Mm.
like, like I want to have the benefits of like being famous, but like not that famous. Like I want some people to know about me, and those people, I don't know, to like be like have them in the same community. But at the same time, I want to enjoy my peace when I go out and like travel the world and so on. So I think if you go to the trust economy, where everything is more natural, that's why you don't need like fancy editing, you don't need like so many post production and so on. But at the same time, you can make your own bubble here. This is what's funny, because you have all these boxes, but at the same time you can like create your own box. So you just have to be aware of what kind of person you are, where you want to be. It's okay to have a mix of both. Like one isn't wrong and the other is right. Like it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist wrong or right. So you can choose your own persona, your own character, what you want to build. And I think this is really important to understand, because you I didn't understand it. I didn't know this. I thought when I started making content, like the first videos, I spent a lot of time editing them, and I had no idea how to edit. Like I learned, but like I made all these, like edit all this stock footage and like music and so on, because I had no understanding that there's this difference between the attention economy and trust economy. And then I realized by doing it that I actually don't like making these kind of videos. But if I haven't made them, I wouldn't have reached the wisdom. So back to what we were talking earlier, while you're making these videos, getting out iterations, you will realize what type of person you are and what you like, and you will gravitate naturally. The process will take you to where you actually belong and where you feel you. So yeah, I totally agree. There's also that there's an article about a guy that he said that you actually need 1,000 true fans. I don't remember exactly the author,
Uh, there's a
but he,
blog
yeah.
that about this, that you only need 1,000 true fans, or I don't know what's the name Apple calls them, the true followers, kind of.
Yeah, and like you don't feel this and don't understand this until like, you actually meet some people and you recognize that they actually like you and they would go with you where you are going. When you're outside, you think you need like 100,000 subscribers and followers to make any income and so on, but it's so far from the truth what's actually happening.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Another question that I have is maybe a question that someone who's starting or thinking about content creation. Would there be any resources that were helpful to you in your early days when you were starting? Any kind of, maybe a book, a mentor, or a YouTuber that you think that kind of you resonate with, that you think their message would help someone who's starting on that journey?
Yeah, so there was this book. There were two books that actually helped me like make the switch and like transition from my old life to this new life, where I actually feel that I finally get to be myself and create what I want. So the
Mhm.
first book was more on the like mindset part and helped me a lot with like realizing what's actually happening, and like how people think. And it's a book by Mark Mason. It's the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And there's another book about from MJ DeMarco, which is the Fastlane Millionaire. And he spoke about, he made me realize that, you know, if you actually want to be in control of your lifestyle, you need to build your own thing. Like, you need to control the product and the distribution. While for now, for example, I don't control the distribution. Anyway, I'm too small for me to have my own distribution. Like YouTube, because YouTube is my main thing, controls the distribution. Like at some point, if when you're big enough, you can also control your own distribution and have like your own website, newsletter, and so on. But the idea is that you need to have control both over the distribution of your product and the product itself. Building a business on the internet, building a brand, is like the simplest thing you could think of, given the context. I never resonated with having like physical businesses and like having deposits, and like I've seen what happened in the pandemic, and what happened when you have like big stocks of, deposits of stuff. And like I never resonated with this. And I realized that the thing that impacts the most, like, are ideas and like stories and messages. Like, this really transforms lives. And for me, this is what took me from having a life that I didn't actually like to having a life that I actually love, and I would like repeat, like what I'm doing right now. For example, this exact thing, the podcast, like the videos I'm making, like I could do this like forever. If right now I was a billionaire, I would still do this because I just love it. Like, I feel I learned so much. So the idea is that I have never understood the reality of like having your own thing. Most of the time, we are taught in schools and like growing up, going to universities, we are not taught about going inside, taking what's inside and like putting it out on the world, like to have your own thing. We are taught to, like, when you want to go to the bathroom, you have to raise your hand. You download the, like, the victim mentality. So you never get to, like, hey, I will have my own thing. You never assume that identity. And that book helped me understand this and gave me the courage to, like, so if I will do something in my life, I will need to like make my own thing out of it. So those two books helped me a lot. And then on let's say other resources, I would point to, not like the people that impacted me the most, but the people that impact you the most, you that you listen to this right now. Because I could say what my mentors were, but think about the people you listen to, like the content you watch. Why do you watch that content? Assuming that is content that is not frying your brain, and that is content that is helping you learn and grow. Like, there's a reason you are attracted to that. So look at what those people are doing and find out why you are attracted to those people and the content they are making and what they are creating. Because there's some truth there. You either have that inside yourself, because otherwise you would not be attracted to that. And that means you can look at what they did, study their websites, their funnels, their products, buy their products, see what they've built. This is what I did. So up until the point I went all in with the content creation and building my own brand. Like, I had these creators that I was following, right? And I bought their courses, I bought their products, I went into their communities, and I spent time there to see what's going on, what they are learning. I essentially did like a market research. Basically, I studied the competitors, let's say. And I saw what they created, and I realized, okay, so wait, people are paying for this. And I also paid for that because it felt valuable enough for me to buy it. So when you come across something like this, you can study it. You don't really need to buy it, but like, get as much info as you can from the people you follow, and understand why you like them. Out of all the other people, why the hell them? Why? And that will give you an insight about what you're passionate about, what you're trying to do with your life. And you'll reach a point after you do this enough market research, where you will understand enough to, like, get to the point where you'll say, okay, I think I know what I want to do. And then it will begin the process of iteration. and then many months later you will get more clarity and so on.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask yourself of like, okay, what hooked me up to that content, and kind of reverse engineer the process of like what made me subscribe to this channel or view that video, and the pattern will emerge essentially. And I think also with time you're going to get better at it, at figuring out of how what were people's steps when they were producing their content. But obviously it's more like a learning curve on, okay, how can I approach it, and then how can I twist it with my uniqueness. I want to shift some gears, and I want to ask you about your, we mentioned a little bit about the work life balance, and you said that, hey, one of the disadvantages of content creation is that sometimes you think about content so much that you go to bed and you're like processing of like, yeah, those ideas are popping in, or you're excited about it. And I think that's one positive aspect of it, but it's sometimes hard to kind of switch it off, or hard to say like, okay, today I'm going to have a day off and I'm just going to chill and not think about content, when reality is that you may be lying on the beach and you may be like the computer is running and the ideas are coming. And so my question would be like, how do you manage your time and maintain the work balance as a content creator?
Yeah, so with great freedom comes great responsibility. So, like, since you're not working a job and you don't have to be like, you don't have to attend meetings, or like, it depends if you do
Yeah.
like coaching session, you'll do, but like, in general, when you make content, like, you pretty much make your own schedule. And I tried all, I mean, a lot of stuff from like biohacking and, you know, routine engineering and so on. And what worked best for me. So this was like, I think it took me like 6 years to understand what works best for my body, my mind, and the type of work I do. And what's happening right now, so I'll tell you how I structured the day. So I realized that I am a morning person. After going to parties and in my like early 20s, so I'm 26 now, like after heavily going to parties and understanding that okay, it's cool but whatever, I realized that I'm an early bird, and that means that my brain works the best in the morning. And in creative work, actually, I realized that when you write a script or record a video, the energy, like the level of energy you have, like for me, when I wake up, I have the highest level of energy, and then it slows down. So what I do always after I wake up and I drink water and brush my teeth, I just get to work. And this is the best routine for me because I know exactly from the day before what I need to do, because at the end of each day, I just write down the tasks for the next day. So from that point of view, it's always a win because I always know what I have to do. The moments in my life where I had anxiety and I was stressed was because I did not chose the tasks for the next day. So I would wake up and feel anxiety because I wouldn't know what I need to do. Okay, so this is the first step. Always know what to do in the day. I wake up, I work up until around like 12 or 1 o'clock. So I have breakfast at like 10. No negotiable. Your meals. Your meals should not be negotiable. Like every day at the same hours, try to have your meals. This will ensure you have the right fuel. So I have breakfast at 10. So I wake up at like 8 o'clock. So I have 2 hours, like almost 2 hours of full focus, and that's when I do like the highest quality of work. Then I have breakfast at 10, and from like 10 and a half to like 1 or 2, it depends on the day, 12, 1 or 2 depends. I finish what work I have to do. I finish the tasks, and then from there I have like the second meal because I'm bulking right now, so I'm trying to eat more food. I have the second meal of the day at around like 1 or 2 o'clock. Then I go to work out on the beach in the sun. I do calisthenics. Like this, moving, working out, and being in nature in the sun was a game changer. Since I started doing this, and I stopped with the ego lifting and like training to like get the, I don't know, whatever looks. I realized, I reached a point where I realized that I'm training for my health, for my mental health. And this was such a huge shift. So I train for like 2 hours or 1 hour, it depends. And I also get on a walk. And then the rest of the day, I have it either for like spending time with friends, trying new stuff, new experiences, or like reading, or when there are days when I don't want to do anything, I just like watch, I don't know, like movies or something. First part work, second part, so first part building my dream, second part taking care of my body, third part enjoying life, let's say, and trying out new stuff, meeting new people, going to events and stuff like that. So this is what I found brings me the most amount of joy, makes me the most productive, and I can do this like almost every single day. Like I frankly don't believe in the calendar. I don't believe in the weekends, in the weekdays anymore. I just believe that I have another day to build my dream, and another day and another day and another day. And I for me this format works amazingly good. Also, in what I forgot to mention, that I have dinner at around like 6 o'clock. So after I work out and I come home, I have dinner at like 6 o'clock. I always meal prep my meals. Otherwise, I couldn't like track my macros. I couldn't like grow. All my life I was skinny, and right now I'm slowly starting to like understand how this works. And then I try to like walk. Walking allows me to like process what happened in the day, get new ideas, and when I go on walks, I meet new people, like I make friends with people. I try to get out of my comfort zone. So if I see someone that's interesting, I just go up to them and I say hi. This is how I actually managed to like, because right now I moved to so I live in Tenerife. It's an island, and I came here alone because I broke up with my girlfriend. So this doing these walks allowed me to like not fuck up my sleep, and like go. I don't need to go to parties to meet people or to events like late in the night. Like I do my walks. It's healthy for me. I also meet new people. I can also process ideas. If I don't want to talk to anyone, I don't talk to anyone. So you can actually do all the things you want to do if you study yourself enough to see what you actually want to do and see what's working for you. But it took me, like, since I started first hearing about the engineer your routine, like 6 years ago when I was 20 years old. It took me like this the routine. I do this since the beginning of this year. So it took me so many trials and errors to find out that this is what works best for me.
There needs to be a clear separation. I know people sometimes have like hard times focusing at home, and for some people the working remotely is a little bit harder than for others. And I find like having that clear kind of a to-do list or something for the next day is definitely very, very helpful.
Yeah, and what I also noticed is that you can have days in creative work. You can, I mean, you do creative work, but you also do like management stuff. So I still have like, for example, the meetings, the coaching calls I have. So I have maker days and manager days. Maker days are days that don't have nothing, any meetings. I'm only creating stuff, writing scripts, recording videos, or editing. Management days are days where I have meetings. For example, for me, like this is a really sensible subject because all these years when I worked in finance, like I took a lot of sales calls, and like I'm kind of traumatized by like calls and getting on calls with people. So I know if when I have a call in a day, like I think about it for some reason. I think a lot of about it. Like I don't know why. I just can't relax when I know I have calls. So I make days. I look at my week and I say, okay, do I need to take calls? If yes, I choose a day, and this day normally is Monday. I just take all the calls in that day. And then I have like maker days where I am just creating stuff. So I found out that if I switch, what you said is so true. If you switch between like the types of work or different tasks, like for me, it takes a lot of time to like get into that flow state, into that focus. So if I were to like create a script and then hop on a meeting and then I have to record the video, if I would try to like have this day while I was writing the script, I would have to like check the calendar to see how much time is left until the meeting, and like I would have all this noise in the background, and I don't like it. So what I found works perfect is like
Mm.
have a day or like multiple days if you have calls and you build a coaching program or something like this and you need to take calls in the beginning, and like have days where you take the meetings, and like those are the management days. Or like for example, when I have to like talk with my accountant and like do taxes, or like I have um like some old clients for the from the old business. Like I have little things that I need to do, because even chores or things that you need to do around the house, like I think it's so much simpler if you like label your day. Okay, so this is like a maker day, and you just sit there and you enter this zone of creation, and you just write the script.
Mm.
So yeah, I think this was like a very big hack for me.
I think it's better when you are in control of your tasks in the day rather than you just wake up and you kind of try to solve the task as they are thrown at you. Let's say, I don't know, like you said, chores, cleaning, I don't know, dishes, making food, things like that. If it's not organized, it's easy to feel that, oh, I'm multitasking or I'm productive. And at the end of the day, in terms of content creation or something very focused, you will feel like not much is done. Maybe I have
Yeah.
a clean carpet, but I don't know, I don't have a script. And I promised myself that this week I'm going to release a video. And
Yeah.
then this is discouraging. I also liked your idea of categorizing things and doing it in a day. Like I'm also, when I worked in support and I would be receiving calls or I had a call meeting, wherever, I would be thinking a lot about that before it even happens. And it's so funny because you can overthink something. It didn't even happen. Actually, the meeting may not even happen in the day,
Yeah.
but you're
Yeah.
thinking, overthinking, how I'm going to approach it, how I'm going to talk about it. And then
Yeah.
actually meetings canceled, wherever. And you spend
Yeah,
so much
man.
of your
Fuck.
productive mind that it's very tiring. If I have some things like this, I usually like to do the work first and then enjoy my day, knowing that, hey, I've done my tasks and now it's a relaxing time. I like that approach.
Yeah, man, and there is also this like hustle culture going on, and like people, people, if they feel they are busy, then it equals that they've done work. But this is so wrong. Like I didn't understand this up until I left like this, because up like these 4 years I was like a hustle culture advocate, right? So you need to like your schedule needs to be like full, like you need to work up until you can't work anymore, which was bullshit, because like the amount of work I'm doing right now, even if I'm like working like half the time or like even less, some days I just like do like 2 or 3 hours of like focused work. But
Mm.
in those 2 or 3 hours, it's like the amount of flow state and focus and what's happening is has so much more leverage than the work I was doing before, just
Mm.
because I realized that it's much more important, like the type of work you're doing, and to have clarity on the tasks. If you don't have clarity on the tasks, you will be busy but you won't do as much work. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, man.
there was a pause. Sorry.
No worries.
No, I just want to slowly wrap it up. I agree with you totally on that answer, and I just want to finish it up and ask you, what are your kind of future goals for your content creation career, or how do you see yourself in the next few months? What are the maybe projects you'd like to focus on?
Yeah, so like the clear focus, I learned that I should not base my goals on outcomes, but rather on
Mm.
inputs. So no outputs but inputs. So my goal for the next month is to like get, so by the end of the year I want to get to 100 videos that I published on YouTube. So I have some catching up to do. I realized that if you set goals based on your inputs, it's so much simpler to like actually do them. Because if I would set my goals to like get to, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, that's an output, that's a consequence of something. So why focus on that?
Yeah.
But like if we leave the wisdom behind, one goal would be this, very simple: be consistent, make 1 to 2 videos per week. I try to make 2 videos per week, and to just get into that like flow state of like actually creating and not thinking too much about it, and like making it very simple. So to fine tune my process of creation, that's a big goal. Then what I want with the community and what with the brand I'm building. So my end goal is to basically change how people get educated on the internet. And what I want to do is to build like a really big community of creators, of educational content creators, because like the education market is going through a big shift right now. So like a market that's worth like 10 trillion globally, and like in the US 1.3 trillion dollars, and that's comprised of like you have online education and you have like formal education. So formal education is shrinking by like 50 billion dollars per year, losing 6%, and online education is like gaining almost 50 billion dollars per year, exactly what this one loses, and it's growing by 20% because this one is smaller right now. So a lot more people like realize that what the fuck, why should I go to like spend like $80,000 on a degree, spend 4 years, and then have some skills that don't really help me that much when I could go into this. So what I realized is that I want to align myself and support this shift, because all the good things that came in my life came because of the things I learned from content creators, from people on the internet. Like all the skills I have today, the life I have today, and everything is because these people took their time and posted their ideas in form of content that I could consume. So because I had this, because my life changed because of this, I want to like actually make this a thing and show other people that they can actually use social media to like make their lives better and educate themselves rather than rotting their brain. So what I want to do is to build this community of edu creators up to the point where we can actually make like an impact and change something and change how people get educated, and to turn social media into something that is actually helping people rather than like destroying people's dopamine receivers and like uh, getting them hooked on entertainment stuff. So long term, this is my goal. At some point I want to get to do, as I grow the community, I want to make some physical events where I get to like invite bigger creators and speakers, but for this I also need to like grow my brand so we can all learn from each other and just build this huge hive mind of people that infuse all their learnings and what they accumulate in their journey, their experiences, to like benefit all the other people on the internet and like transform the experience on social media. Everything I do is related to this big goal. So I just have all these steps, small stepping stones to get there. And I know this is like a 10-20 year long journey, and I'm happy because I finally have clarity and I feel that this is indeed my life's work. And now I have this feeling of being relaxed, that I finally know what I want to do, and I know that even if I would have all the money in the world, I would still do this. I will still do the same thing. So this is my goal, and all I'm doing right now is to like grow the brand, make videos to attract the right people, maybe help maybe shape the next generation of edu creators, and in the process just having fun and like enjoying the rides. This, for example, what's happening right now, us meeting and having this talk, this is a consequence of this, and I'm so happy because this is what I imagined. This is what I was dreaming about. Meeting people like you that resonate and feel and understand that we are in this all together, and it doesn't matter that like whatever person is doing better than you or me, or we're all in this together. We are on the same boat, so we might just help make the boat better, and in the process you will get rewarded. And that's all. I mean, this is, we were designed for this kind of like interaction. This is what brings me the most fulfillment, and I feel it, I know it, and I'm so happy because right now, like my anxiety and like the thoughts of, oh my god, what am I doing with my life, they are starting to like, they lose the power. I feel that I'm becoming myself finally. So yeah, I think this is like becoming aligned with what I want. So this is what it looks like. So yeah, this is the goal.
Well, man, I mean, just by speaking it, I can see in you that you radiate as you're talking about it. So I know that you're on the right track. Like you said, I think the main thing, the boat, is that community, right? And I think that people who are listening right now and are interested in another and looking for another resource to get started is to find a community like your community, educational creators, essentially. Even Mr. Beast, when he was talking about how he started, he had a group of 4 or 5 guys that they were creating content, and then they were doing like weekly, they would always talk about, oh, what were the mistakes? So everyone learned from each other and the content became better. Each of them have individually added or contributed some values by conversations of like, hey, how can we create content that would be awesome, and I think that with your community it's kind of similar, because people are sharing their ideas, but also they're sharing their successes when they release a content, or they have 50 views. Doesn't matter how many views you have, but you're happy that you've released the content, and that you move that ball and you're rolling forward. And I know you have also some games, some kind of a challenge that you've released. Can you talk 2 minutes about it, of what it is, and what's all about?
Yeah, so on the 1st of July, the first edition of the Creation Games will begin. And the whole idea behind the Creation Games is, well, this is what I needed when I started. So the reason I postponed starting so much time I waited and wasted, was that I didn't have like other people that were like at the beginning with me. So I had these people that I bought some courses from that were like way ahead, like had hundreds of thousands of followers, and I just couldn't relate. So what I wanted was someone that was actually beginning at the same time with me, or like was a few steps in front of me, so they could relate. They could tell me actually what's happening with my minds and with my mind and with my thoughts. So this is why I made the Creation Games, which basically is a month-long challenge. We will have the first call on the 1st of July, and we will be on a Zoom call. Everybody will state their goals public, both personal and brand related. If you have no idea how to start a brand, no problem, because we'll also have like, so everything I'm talking about is free. We'll have like a coaching call where we will look at what are your passions or your problems based around where or how you can build your brand, so you can actually begin the challenge even if you have no idea what's going on. And then every week we have Q&A calls. The idea of the challenge is to get you to create. That's why it's called the Creation Games. So there will be some prizes for the winners. The main goal of the challenge is to get you to be consistent with creations. In my community, we will have like a progress accountant where you can document like what you do every day to build that brand and to like achieve the goals you set for yourself at the beginning of the month. And also a creation accountant where you are able to document and to post about your creations, because in the beginning, like, you don't have, maybe you are like I was and you're leaving a all life behind and starting something new, and you won't have like people to like give you feedback. So that's why I created the creation accountant, where you can also post like your creations and get feedback, and like just have other people in the same exact journey as you are. And at the end, we'll have a closing ceremony where we'll choose a winner that will receive some cool prizes. But yeah, everything is happening like in the community. Like, everybody can apply as long as you want to get out of the comfort zone and you actually want to make this step and like build uh, build momentum, start building your brand.
So would you say that this is a perfect resource for someone who's thinking of starting? I would say yes.
Yeah, actually, I would say yes, because it's based on the exact problems I had when I started, and I
it's
with
essentially it's essentially a body that you were missing when you were starting, like a body that
yeah,
will, like maybe your partner at the time that was supportive of you.
yeah,
Here it's a community of people that are supporting of you and guide you along the way. If you have any questions, you can speak to someone who already has 100 subscribers or maybe 1,000 subscribers and
yeah.
can relate to your process and where you're going.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for like for meeting you, because you also helped me validate all this, because I realized, I mean, I also learned a lot from your journey, and I mean, you also had some channels that had way more success than I had up until this point. So I think it's great to like have people that are uh, like a few steps like in front, but also have other people that are also starting with you. So this was the goal, to bring like both both spectrum, both kind of people in the same room well,
Yeah.
in the same room on Zoom.
Cool, man. Well, I'm gonna drop all the handles and how to find your school community of edu-creators. I'll also leave your YouTube link. I think these are the best places to get to you. Any other kind of handles to connect with you? Instagram?
I also have Instagram, but like if you want to actually begin the work and join us in this whole journey and start building your brand, just join the community. Everything is there. We can talk there, and uh, we'll just grow together. That's the plan.
Perfect. Perfect. Well,
Awesome.
thank you very much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it. I think we've covered quite a lot of stuff, and hopefully to the next one.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. I like amazing conversation. You're an amazing host, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, cool. Cut it.